This is at least the second time that I've changed my mind about a watch after experiencing it in real life. Today we are talking about the Bell Ross BR05. Welcome back to Bark and Jack. I am Adrian, and if you want to support the channel, just hit the subscribe button down there and the little bell icon so you get notifications when I drop new videos. If you're into your watch straps, then jump over to barkandjack.shop and check out our NATO straps and leather straps that we have over there. I've said a couple of times myself that you can't really pass comment on a watch until you've experienced it in real life. I get asked lots of questions about watches. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? And I can't help but share my thoughts on a watch, even if I've only just seen a photograph of it. You can, of course, pass comment on design and the specs of a watch, but the experience of a watch is actually seeing it in real life, seeing it in person, seeing how the light bounces off it, seeing what the bracelet feels like, how it wears on the wrist. You can't pass comment on those things having just seen photographs. I slagged this Grand Seiko SBGN 00 series off massively when it was launched. Then I ate my words and had to go out and buy the 001. In November just gone, I attended ClubQP in London, which is a smaller version of SalonQP after there's a mix-up around the venues. It was quite intimate, I'm not really a fan of the event if I'm honest, but it was quite an intimate event with a handful of watch brands. One of the brands was Bell Ross. I went in their section just to have a look about and see what was what, and they had this BR05 on display. They actually had all of them. So I asked if I could take a few shots, and that's what we have here today. I've got the blue dial, steel on steel. I also have the all gold and then a skeletonized version, which is on the rubber strap. Some of the comments that I made in this watch was that it was just simply a boring commercial decision. It was massively overpriced, and then it was just a rip-off of the Royal Oak. It's these comments that I want to revisit. Before we get into anything else, let's get the boring specs out of the way. There's loads of different prices, loads of different versions of this watch. If you want a full rundown, just jump over to the Bell Ross website. But what I have in front of me is the blue dial steel bracelet, which is £3,900. We have the skeletonized dial on a rubber strap, which is £4,900. And then we have the all gold, which is £27,000. The movement is labelled the BR caliber 321. However, that's just a rebranded Sellita SW300-1. The case is 40mm wide, but do bear in mind that, again, this is one of the things you just can't judge by looking at photographs. But a 40mm wide square case is far larger than a 40mm wide round case. It has a screw down crown which allows it to have 100 meters water resistance. Understanding the price of the watch is a tricky one, and this is where you really need to experience it in person to kind of understand where the money's gone. The money obviously hasn't gone into the movement because it's just got an off the shelf SW300 inside, which is you can get watches at a fifth of the price of this with the same movement inside. The money has been spent on the engineering of the watch, the bracelet, the case, and everything of that is very well made. The case feels rock solid, and what I mean by that is it's not rock solid because it's made out of stainless steel. I mean, if you hear my Seiko 5, can you hear that sound? The rotor inside is flapping about, and also there's a plastic retainer holding the movement in place. None of that is engineered to a high standard, so there isn't very tight tolerances, therefore the whole thing, it just rattles about a bit. Whereas with my Explorer, there's no rattling. Everything is rock solid. You can barely, I can't feel the rotor inside there. Everything is absolutely rock solid, and that's what this BR05 feels like. So I guess there's two camps when it comes to the pricing of the watch. You might not be overly interested in the movement, and you might really appreciate the aesthetics of the watch and the build quality, therefore the pricing is a bit easier to swallow. But then the other side of it is, if you're into your movements and your watchmaking ability, this is a complete rip-off. The biggest thing that stood out to me about the watch is where it sits within the market. Having experienced it now, I understand where it sits and its kind of purpose commercially. Patek did it, AP did it, Vacheron did it, and now Lange have done it. They've all launched commercial steel sports watches to tick the box of what the market is buying. Bell Ross have just done the same. It happens that it looks fairly similar to a Royal Oak, and there are, I guess, areas you could say were inspired by the Royal Oak. But when you break it down, it is very obviously a Bell Ross. With the screws, with the dial layout, with the typography on the dial, the whole thing is quite obviously Bell Ross. I feel like Bell Ross should have just focused on the stainless steel versions with the normal dials. I really don't like the skeletonized dials. I feel like it's trying to show off something that isn't there. A skeletonized watch is trying to show off the movement underneath, but this isn't a movement that Bell Ross has made. It's not a movement that they can be proud of. Equally with the gold watch, that is just so unnecessary. Anyone who's dropping £27,000 on a Salita SW300 movement is absolutely crazy. I do not understand the mindset around that. To put that price into perspective, the all gold Rolex Submariner is only £1,650 more expensive. Now, I also think that is a complete rip-off of a watch, but it's far better value than spending £27,000 on an off-the-shelf movement. Would I personally buy the watch? No, it's not my kind of watch. I like the Vacheron, I like the Overseas, I like the Nautilus, I like the Royal Oak range, but this just doesn't do it for me. What I like about those watches isn't quite ticked within the box of this watch. I appreciate the movement, the watch making that has gone into those watches. That hasn't happened here. However, I do like seeing it. I've seen this watch a couple of times at watch meetups and press events. So although it's not a watch that I'd personally buy, and I still think it is overpriced for what I see in a watch, as a package, I think the watch alone, remove the price, I think the watch alone is actually quite a fair offering. Guys, drop me a comment down below and let me know your thoughts on this piece. And maybe you've experienced it, or maybe you've gone ahead and bought one, but maybe you've experienced it and it's changed your mind as well. If you like this video, do hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button down there as well, and a little bell icon so you get notifications when I drop new videos. Jump over to barkandjack.com if you want to see previous videos. Jump over to barkandjack.shop if you want to check out our watch straps. Check me out on Instagram at barkandjack, and check out the group that I'm part of at We Are Hortics. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.